Hello, this is David Adeyi from Liberty University Helms School of Government. For this presentation, I will start by stating the research concept, then discuss the problems, briefly go over the literature, then discuss and explain the methodology before going over data collection and interpretation. Then I will end the presentation with the feasibility of the research. My dissertation topic is the effect of renewable portfolio standard on US economy and federalism system. And now section 179 and R&D could help grow clean energy economy. There are two research questions here. The first one is what causes RPS mandate tension in states? And the second one is how could IRS section 179 and R&D help reduce tension in states and grow clean energy economy? This study hypothesized that federally supported RPS mandates cause tension in states and is ineffective in growing US clean energy economy. This study also hypothesized that allowing increased R&D, expense deduction, and increased Section 179 for both fossil and renewable energy sectors will be more effective in creating a federalism-based energy economy that could reduce RPS mandate tension in states. The dependent variable is reduced mandate tension in states for a sustained clean energy economy. Now, the independent variables are states' level of fossil energy economic development, states' limited government and free market belief systems, and the amount of federal energy incentives to the energy sector in the forms of R&D and Section 179. Now to the problem statement of this study. The RPS mandate that is part of the US energy policy does not comply with America's system of federalism because RPS requires or encourages electricity producers to provide their customers with a stated minimum share of electricity from eligible renewable sources. This diminishes the profits of the fossil energy companies, and as a result, it decreases the revenues of states that depend on the fossil energy companies. Now, and because of this drawback, fossil energy groups have lobbied the people and have rolled back RPS mandates in states like Ohio and West Virginia. Now, this start and stop uh, process of the normal fossil development process makes energy less secure, less diversified, and more costly. Some could remember the Arab oil embargo that made the U.S. energy less secure and less diversified. RPS mandate also violates ideological beliefs of conservatives, like the belief in the free market and the belief in limited government. And this violates the principle of federalism because federalism is based on physical autonomy, while physical autonomy largely depends on the freedom of states to have their own God given resources to prosper. For example, a survey by Ball et al. In 2019 finds that while liberals will forego a payment to have renewable energy installed, conservatives will reject a payment of $67 to have renewable energy. So there is this ideological disparity. So this is why what this study does is to reduce RPS mandate in states by exploring how increased R&D and Section 179 could replace RPS mandates. Such economic tools could encourage clean energy solutions for the environment, sustain economic growth in the energy and related industries, promote equity among conservatives and liberal states, and promote free market ideology, and ultimately sustain US federalism by reducing RPS tension in states. Now, let's go to the literature review. Literature review may apply methods like integrating or merging studies from various researchers, connecting various studies, pinpointing specific points that needs to be analyzed, or even criticizing the works of others. Studies by Garth and Roberts in 2022 and studies by and research by Thoms and Jorgensen in 2020 portray the contentious nature of RPS mandates in states. Garth and Roberts narrate how environmental activists in Michigan discard the global warming theme and adopted the job creation theme. Well, environmental activists do this to get people's support. In fact, some activists admitted that arguments about RPS creating jobs were hard for environmental organizations to credibly make. Essentially, the reality is that economic arguments are most important to people. And this reality also justifies the notion that stakeholders like companies and states in fossil industries must be treated equitably. Now, common things in the literature uh, include the fact that renewable energy is still economically inefficient and that there are ideological differences between liberal and conservative states. And, and these uh, situations cause RPS mandate tension in states. Now, so researchers Samuel Trashman in 2020 supports Roger Carapin and Jang that what really determines if our RPS mandate is suitable for a state is the ideological beliefs of those states. One common error or oversight in literature, though, is the lack of historical perspective. The literature did not really explain how RPS mandate started. And this started with the Arab oil embargo of 1973 and 1974. So, another common error or oversight is that conservatives may be concerned that RPS, if forced on states, could cause other mandates to be forced on states, other policies, like policies on gun control, forcefully, uh, uh, forcefully banning prayers in schools, and other policies that are contrary to the ideological beliefs of conservative states. Now, let's go to the study design. This study uses the mixed method of qualitative and quantitative design and employs the interpretive paradigm. The interpretive paradigm posits that the construction, interpretation, and lived experience of the world is through human interaction with themselves and the wider social system. In this study, that means the lived experiences of people in RPS mandate states that are facing a ban on their God-given natural resources. For renewable energy state citizens, this means the opportunity to have new income generating resources. So, renewable energy citizens are likely to be happy, while fossil energy citizens are likely to be concerned. Specific methods include document data technique, online qualitative survey of open-ended questions, semi-structured online interview of energy industry stakeholders, and case studies. For the sampling in this study will select 6 states of New York, California, Texas, Ohio, West Virginia, and Michigan. This study will survey 200 people for a general survey, and this will highlight the ideological differences between fossil and renewable energy states. This study also uses uh, semi-structured interview of about 20 people to collect data because such methods will allow citizens, stakeholders to give more insight into why it has become increasingly unlikely that conservative governments will consider RPS mandate adoption. Intensity sampling will be used in this study also. And that is for the selection of the 20 people, because these are the people that have expertise in the fossil and renewable energy field. and can provide quality information on RPS mandates and energy related issues. For the survey and interview questions, it will include questions like: do you believe in free market principles? Do you believe in limited government? How does your belief in the free market and limited government influence your support for RPS mandates? And does your religious belief influence your support for or against RPS mandates? And how does it influence your support for RPS mandates? Selection of 6 states will make the study results generalizable because most US states fall under either having a robust renewable energy and RPS mandate policies like New York and California, or having contentious RPS mandates like Michigan states, or having contentious RPS mandates rollback like Ohio and West Virginia. Now, the last group is Texas, those states that are like Texas. Texas will represent states without RPS mandates, but who continues to increase fossil production to make the needed profits. Now, for the case study, this study will use one case study to compare the successes of RPS mandates in New York and California to that of Ohio and West Virginia, where RPS mandates are failed. Now, this study will use the document data technique. This study will use document data technique to assess important reports on fossil and renewable energy. And this may include data on level of energy production, consumer markets for energy, employment figures for each energy sector, so that we could understand how job could be lost through RPS mandates. Now, for the regression analysis of the survey, this study will use regression analysis to determine who is likely to support or oppose RPS mandates in states, or to substantiate what may already be suspected. Document data technique could also reveal the level of increase or decrease in state fiscal autonomy in the wake of RPS mandates. Fiscal autonomy is important because states must be able to generate adequate revenue for its people or for their people without depending on the federal government. Through document data technique also, this study will get information from IRS Form 67, 65 that will be used to figure out claims and credits for research and development activities. Then this study will review IRS publication 946 for prior and current year to assess past allowable deductions so that the study could project budget needs that are specific to the energy industry. For example, for the year 2023, the maximum Section 179 allowable deduction is $1,160,000. Increasing this amount could generate more research and could generate more clean energy. This study will also use quantitative analysis to measure governmental data like potential job losses due to RPS mandates and RPS trends by states. So quantitative analysis will be useful in those calculations. For the data analysis section, Toyle et al. Explained that important procedures in data analysis include reading, coding, displaying, reducing, and interpreting data, and that perhaps data interpretation owes all other steps together. That is, all other steps will fall apart without proper data interpretation. This is because it is difficult for people to comprehend data if it is not well interpreted. So this study will be sensitive to themes and will code variables that appear as themes. This study will also highlight how respondents emphasize themes and the reason for such emphasis, like why environmentalists in Michigan emphasize job creation over RPS mandates to pass the policies. Now, for data reduction, This study will use data reduction. Whenever an idea or a theme is overanalyzed, this study will reduce the data and focus more on the theme or codes that have not been properly analyzed. So that will be the data reduction aspect of it. So that to prevent over analysis. Then this study will use discourse analysis to look specifically at the subjective underlying meaning of language in written or spoken communication. For example, participants in conservative state may say, we want to push back against the government, and liberals may say, we want to save the planet. What both of them may mean, they could mean that they want to vote out politicians that are not supportive of their causes and vote in politicians that are responsive to their causes. So this will be very critical in this study, discourse analysis. And now I'll go to the feasibility of the study. This study is feasible because it uses a moderate survey of 200 people, an interview of 20 uh, people in the energy industry. This study expects respondents to participate because RPS is RPS mandate is contentious, and citizens may want their voices to be heard. The study will survey the general population, but will specifically ask respondents to indicate if they are working in the fossil industry or if they are working in the renewable energy industry. This study will now separately analyze responses from the two industries and also analyze responses from the general population and compare it to the industry insiders. So this is why, for example, the study by Boyle et al. Successfully surveyed 1,000 citizens of Virginia on ideological beliefs, and the study received 277 responses. And also, the study by Garth and Robert successfully interviewed about 8 environmentalists in Michigan during the passage of the contentious RPS mandates in the state of Michigan. This study is also feasible because it uses document data and the governmental information that will be relied upon for quantitative analysis and other information are already public data. Sources include IRS websites on R&D and Section 179, Census Bureau data on energy industry employment, and U.S. Energy Department data and websites. And we'll also use state websites, state energy websites. Now, this concludes my presentation on the topic, the effect of renewable portfolio standard on U.S. energy economy and federalism system, and how Section 179 and R&D could help grow clean energy economy in the U.S. Thank you and God bless.